Okay. So as you look at the little hand diagram that I sent, so our hand, another thing that we can add to like our practice, or even just if we're feeling our own anxiety in our own life, they call it just finger holding, and we literally just hold our fingers. And so what we're looking for is like a pulse in the fingers, and we want the pulse to be present. Sometimes it's and we want it to be balanced. So sometimes when we feel the pulse in the finger, it'll be really slow or it'll be really fast. It's kind of like the Goldilocks thing, but we want it to be like a nice, like a heartbeat, like boom, 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 instead of like not present or boom, 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 boom. And so with each of these, like connecting to a different thing. So like our pinky, you can hold when you're nervous. Your ring finger, you can hold when you're sad. Your middle finger, you can hold when you're angry. Your index, you can hold when you're fearful. And your thumb, you can hold when you're worried. So like, even for me, if I get anxious now, you'll see me just go like this right away. And I'm holding my thumb because it's like I'm worried. And so it's calming me down as I just simply sit and hold my thumb. And so the other thing that it's helping,
Awesome.
I know it's so cool. I love it. So then the pinky ties into our heart and small intestine. The ring finger next to our lungs and our colon. The middle finger with our liver and our gallbladder. The kidneys and the bladder for the index finger. And the stomach and the spleen for the thumb. So even the organs are getting benefited as we hold the fingers also. And so when we lock into mudras, we tap into not only the emotion, the organs, but then there's also planets and elements that come in to tie into it also. So there's like earth, air, fire, water, ether that connect to the fingers. And then there's like the planets also. So our hands have a lot of medicine in them. So it makes sense why we feel so good when we're doing the mudras.
And fear is a fear of moving forward.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Tammy's having like a nice cleanse, I think. I don't know if I'd call it nice. But like she's been having like rashes and
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Purging.
what was that?
I said I've been purging.
Very nice. That's the
Yeah.
best place to do that is in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
right. She's 4 days. She's always like this. The jungle's like, we're gonna heal now.
Yeah. See, here I cried, but it was happy crying. It was happy tears.
Yes, good.
Process. All right, so today we're going to talk about the 12 major meridians in the body. And when we talk about yin practice, this is really where we get involved with the 12 major meridians. And also as we're kind of working with like energy, the qigong and such, we get into that as well a little bit. So meridians connect all of our major organ systems, and each meridian plays a specific and crucial role in the entire body. If the energy flowing through a meridian is imbalanced in any way, the system it fuels is jeopardized and disease may result. So in simplest terms, we know that qi refers to the natural essential energy of life or livelihood. And this energy flows through multiple pathways of the bodies called meridians or nadis, you could say. It's the more yogi term. And each meridian regulates a particular organ, but all are interconnected. So good health depends on the circulation and balance of energy throughout the entire meridian system. So even though we might have one organ, obviously, that gets affected or something, then that ripples out into all of the others. So the 12 major meridians of the body is the lung, the large intestine, stomach, the spleen, the heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney, pericardium, triple warmer, gallbladder, and liver. And so each of these 12 major meridians in the body ideally should be functioning harmoniously, but we'll have a good indication when they're not with some of these indications of an imbalance that we're going to go over. And the other thing is that each of these organs, we go through at a different time during the day. So there's a window of time during every day that these organs are getting the most energy. So like for me, when I started to heal, my lungs were really having the effect because I was breathing. And so I was waking up every single morning at 3 a.m., which happens to be the lung meridian time. And so if we're feeling uncomfortable or we're feeling sick at some time during the day, like we're like, man, I don't know why, but every time around this time, I start to feel anxious or I feel tired or I feel something, some shift. Well, we can look up the time and we can look up the organ and we can usually bet that that organ is having some sort of imbalance and needs a little more support. So this is a really cool part of it. So we can see that the lung is going to be the first one that we talk about, and this regulates respiration and the intake of energy. And the symptoms of imbalance would be a viral and bacterial infection in the lungs, excessive perspiration, inflammation issues in the upper parts of the body, and problems with the olfactory organs such as the nose and sense of smell, and adverse skin conditions too. So again, rashes, things like that, that can also be part of the grief and lung process. And this is from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. that we're in the lung window. So if we're having any sort of issue at this time, we can bet that we are having an imbalance with our lung meridian. And you can see that it ties into the element of metal. And so by working in Qigong, when we talked about having, which I need to put in the chat, the elements all around us, we could go into a flow where we're bringing in more of the metal elements. And so that would start to nurture the lung meridian just by bringing in that aspect also. We could also come into a meridian or a mudra for the lungs. And so there's lots of different ways that we can start to honor and heal these spaces. The finger holding, as we just talked about, would be another good one. And then the second major meridian that we're going to talk about is the large intestine. And this extracts and processes water from waste material before expelling it. And so symptoms of an imbalance here would be like abdominal pains and on an emotional level, difficulty holding on or letting go. And this also ties into the metal element, and it's from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so we can check in with our bodies at this time. If we're feeling great, then we know that there's no imbalance there. If we feel a little wonky at this time, then it gives us indication that we probably need to balance this out, either by bringing in more of the metal elements or by going into postures that help open up this meridian, or by even working with mudras that start to open up this as well.
What do they mean by the metal element exactly? Like, how do they tie that into the organ?
So I guess each of the organs just has a tie into earth, air, fire, water, or ether. And it's just part of the system that like it governs that, and that element will govern that organ. So by making sure that we have more of that metal element, then we can start to balance it out. But this is just from like ancient Chinese history, like the way that they've had it always.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So then we've got the stomach, and this digests and extracts energy from food and distributes that energy to the spleen and the intestines. And some symptoms of imbalance for the stomach would be feelings of worry and nervousness and lack of acceptance. Obviously, if we're having any sort of organ problems with the stomach, digestion problems, then we could be sure that we have an imbalance there also. Heartburn, things like that, constipation, anything that isn't letting the stomach kind of do the same thing, absorption problems, all of those would be into the stomach. And so this one's from 7 to 9, and this would be tying into the earth element. And then we've got the spleen, coming in next, which distributes nutrients throughout the body and it maintains muscle and limb tone. It also regulates the blood flow. And some symptoms of imbalance here would be diarrhea, constipation, bloating, lack of appetite, prolapsed internal organs, weak muscles, general fatigue, brain fog, and absent-mindedness. This is from 9 to 11, and it ties into our earth element as well. Then we'll move into the heart, which circulates blood to all the organs in the body. And the symptoms of imbalance here would be chest pains, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, dizziness, hot flashes, cold sweats, irritability, and insomnia. A healthy heart meridian allows for joy and bliss in one's life, while an imbalance can lead to psychological problems like anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder, which to me is just bouncing back and forth between those anxiety and depression. The time of day is 11 to 1, and this one ties into our fire element. So like with Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, like we want to keep all these elements balanced in the body, but sometimes we get too much fire, sometimes we get too much water, sometimes we get too much ether. And this can be affected by the seasons, this can be affected by our emotions, it can be affected by food, and it can be affected by stress. So all these are going to be ways that we can support these systems or these major meridians. Then we've got the small intestine, which distributes nutrients throughout the body. Some symptoms of an imbalance here are poor circulation, weak legs, feeling cold, swollen lymph and glands, sore, stiff shoulders, acne, nerve pain, poor digestion, and stomach distension. And this is from 1 to 3 p.m. with also tying into the fire. Then we'll move into the bladder, which we know removes liquid waste from the body. And an imbalance here could be stiffness in the neck and the shoulders, headaches, back pain, and all urinary disease. Emotionally, an imbalance of bladder energy causes feelings of anger and an inability to express emotions. I always think about that, like being pissed off, literally, like, you know, ties into the bladder, but it's an anger energy. This one's from 3 to 5 p.m. and it ties into the water elements. And then we've got our kidney, which the function is it stores sexual energy. It regulates the reproductive system and produces blood and bone marrow, believe it or not. Symptoms of an imbalance here would be genital urinary disorders, backaches, asthma, and tinnitus. And on an emotional level, the kidney meridian controls willpower, determination, and the ability to cope with hardships. This is from 5 to 7 p.m. and also the element would be the water element. And then we move to the pericardium, where the pericardium is the area surrounding the heart and protects, lubricates, and removes excess energy from the heart. So this is important because it disperses energy throughout the whole body, preventing the heart from becoming over-energized. If this spot was imbalanced, then we would be experiencing disorders of the heart, chest, and stomach, as well as difficulty expressing emotions, depression, aversions, and phobias. This is at 7 to 9 p.m. and the element is fire. And then we've got the triple warmer. And the triple warmer, also called the triple burner or San Yahu, controls the body as a whole. Rather than being responsible for a particular organ system, it controls metabolism and regulates heat, moisture, and body temperature. So an imbalance here would reflect a wide range of disorders. Since the triple warmer is responsible for the whole body, an issue with any organ in the body is some way associated to an imbalance of triple warmer meridian. So this would be present from 9 to 11 p.m. And it ties into the fire element as well. And then next we've got the gallbladder, and this stores and expels bile produced by the liver. And the symptoms of an imbalance here would be bloating, liver pains, and yellow discoloration of the tongue, skin, or urine. This is from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. It is the wood element. I had my gallbladder removed while I was out here in Costa Rica about a year ago, and literally 11 p.m. rolled around and I was dying, like dying. And from 11 to 1, it was like the most excruciating pain that I've like ever had. But basically, I was up with that pain, and when I went in, like I knew that that was the gallbladder area. So we went to hospital, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's my gallbladder. They were like, no, it's not your gallbladder. Your gallbladder's fine. And like my partner was like, no, I want you to do an ultrasound. She's telling you it's her gallbladder. So they did an ultrasound, and they're like, oh my God, you have like so many gallstones in your gallbladder. We should remove it. And then when they removed my gallbladder, it was totally mush. Like it was mush, and I had probably 72 large stones. I'm talking like the size of a piece of corn.
Oh my gosh.
2 of them like in my gallbladder that was total mush. And so by like identifying the time that I was having that pain, it's like it was the indicator for me too. Like I knew it was my gallbladder. So like knowing this can also give us a little more insight, like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable at this time. I'm having pain at this time. It got worse at this time. Well, let's see what's going on in the organ clock, you know? And so it's a good helpful tool for that.
No, that's really good.
And then we've got the liver, and this circulates energy, regulates menstruation in the female reproductive system, and maintains flexibility of tendons and ligaments. So symptoms of an imbalance here could be menstrual disorders, dry skin and eyes, jaundice, blurred vision, vertigo, stiff joints, and headaches. And on an emotional level, an imbalance of energy in the liver meridian results in anger, irritability, depression, and a lack of control and flexibility. This is from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So it's interesting, right? Like we're like seeing how these imbalances have such an effect on our mental being. Like, again, tying in psychology with our biology and how important that really is. And we can see that one affects the other. So for the liver, it ties into the wood element. And then now you've got your little organ clock where you guys can see the different times of the day. And so this one, you can just kind of mark down and see some of the meridians. I don't think it has them all, so I'm going to add another one to the chat as well. So it says each meridian has a 2-hour period of the day in which energy peaks. Energy flows through each meridian to complete a daily 24-hour cycle. And so as we've discussed, these different parts of the day govern. And so just keeping that in the back of our mind when we have issues, we can kind of note down, maybe we become a little bit more aware and we're like, man, every day around this time, I'm feeling this way. So maybe when we start to journal, we always, you know, we can also write down the time and be like, I'm feeling a little bit blah, blah, blah at this time. And then we can go back and look at the Chinese organ clock and have some also physical insight and emotional insight into that. So it says in traditional Chinese medicine, methods of energy balancing include acupuncture and acupressure, as well as tapping, Qigong and its related martial art, Tai Chi. You could throw yin yoga on that level too, and nutrition and herbal remedies also. So acupuncture, acupressure, and Qigong and yin yoga are all forms of what the West calls preventative medicine. However, in Eastern medicine, these are the primary forms of treatment. Acupuncture, tapping, and acupressure are very similar, and both use the same map of acupoints located on the meridians of the body. The difference is that acupuncture accesses these points through needles, while acupressure and tapping use the less invasive technique of touch. So acupoints are energy spots or places along meridians where energy collects, making the qi more accessible there. Acupoints can be manipulated to increase or decrease the flow of energy in a particular meridian. And when energy is deficient, these points can be accessed to clear blockages and stimulate circulation. So when there's too much energy flowing through or stagnating in a meridian, these points are manipulated to disperse the surplus of energy. And Qigong is another form of energy healing. In Qigong, meditation, breath work, and gentle movement help to cleanse and strengthen and balance the meridians. So I'm going to look up for us the little Qigong elements as well that are around the body so that we can kind of correlate that into this. And below it says, write down below any of the meridians that you noticed in your life that might have blockages and also the correlating chakra. And then we're also going to draw the meridians. And so I'm going to send us a picture of the meridians. The thing about the meridians in the body is that, like, when we're tapping, right, we know that they're tapping into, like this says, a point where the meridian energy collects. But these meridians travel all the way through the body, pretty much like from the crown of the head or somewhere up top, all the way down to the bottom. And so I'm going to put a diagram in the chat too, so that you guys can see that. But when we're talking about acupressure, acupuncture, then we're hitting the point where the meridian is most strong, or where the most energy collects in that space. So not to confuse it with just this is the exact space where that organ or that energy ties in, but this is where it begins and then it moves throughout the whole body. So let me add this picture really quick. So this is in the WhatsApp chats, and you can see that it's got the meridians and it shows where in the body it moves through. This diagram is facing us. So you can see that the left and the right side of the body have different meridians associated with them. So we can see like the intestine meridian moves down the left arm. The triple wormer moves down the left arm. The colon meridian moves down the left arm. But when we start to talk about the heart meridian, the pericardium, and the lung meridian, those are all on the right side of the body. And so we can just kind of have a nice idea of like where these go in the body. But I thought too, it would be nice for us to just draw a little diagram. So what we'll do, for me, if I can like not just read something, but also like start to color, create something, it just helps me like sink it into my brain a little bit more. Little diagram, and then we can start to see like, okay, one meridian is going to travel from the center line of the body into the right arm down into, so like maybe we draw this, and then we say right here, like, okay, this is our lung. So basically we're just drawing like what the diagram looks like, but the reason we're drawing it is to try and just bring it into the brain a little bit more. So we're going to draw out our own little diagram. If you want to do it on a bigger piece of paper, that's okay too. Or if you just want to keep it right underneath the comment box under on page 78, you could do that as well. So we're going to not get off of our Zoom while we do this, but we're just going to take a moment. We're all going to write down any of the organs that we felt like we've had a block in them at some point in our life. Maybe I would say like in the last 5 years. And then if you remember or think about it, I also want you to write where that organ is in the chakras. And so that way we're going to talk about some of the emotional aspects and see if that makes sense to us for some of the things that we've been experiencing. So let's take a moment and we'll start doing that practice. We'll write out our little meridian, and then I'm also going to put in the Qigong Chinese medicine elements around the body. So we can see where we would be reaching for that energy. So the other diagram that I'm putting in with like the Qigong elements around the body, it also gives us like foods that we can eat to incorporate those elements also, like the water or the metal.
Would you say the bladder is the sacral or solar plex chakra?
I would say it's probably in the sacral,
Yeah.
like kind of like governed by the Apana energy that's moving down to like release. That's why
Mhm.
I probably put it there.
Yeah, that's like markers. It's not, not markers. Okay. My person is really, really awful. Mine's
Look
drawing.
at mine.
No, yours is way
You've got
better.
a shoulder.
Look at it. Yours is way better.
No, it's
Yeah. Mine's all. It's all up.
so too, we could also then like draw our circle around or even start to write those different elements around the body. Oh, okay, we've got fire. And then we've got earth on the left. Earth. Waters. Right, lower. Earth on the left. Lungs below. Anyway. The circle around the body. Of those elements.
Where's Era?
The diagram that's probably in the WhatsApp is better than what I'm drawing up here, but so air is gonna be, I guess they don't work with it. They work with earth, fire, wood, metal,
Metal and
and
earth.
water.
Okay.
I think air element is like all around us.
So Earth is on the left.
I started drawing the diagram. Again, this diagram's facing us. This is always like what we run into, even with like the quiz on the 200 hour. They're like, is this diagram facing us or away from us? So you guys can just.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
I just,
I have a question. So
Yeah.
in the pages, you have small and large intestine,
mm-hmm.
but on the diagram, there's just intestine. So, and each one has a different element.
It looks like they're like in the same. So both the large and the small intestine are going to be like in the same. So they share a meridian.
And they each have a different element, metal and fire. Interesting.
It is super interesting. Large intestine, small intestine. So like they govern the lung and the heart, which means they're like in the same chakra per se, in the same region, but they might just be a little bit distant from each other, like next to each other, you know.
Different energy.
Or small intestine. So this one, I'm gonna list this one too, because this one gives them kind of in a different spot too. It shows that the small intestine is really more like in the neck area, in the back, and then into the arm. And then the large intestine looks like it's just in the arm into the chest. So it is different on this one. So I'm going to add this one too. It does have like some little, when it's like someone else's photo, and so they put their name on it so that you can not share it or whatever. If you share it, they just have their stuff in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
That's on there.
I know, I'm like looking at mine now too. Oh.
Right.
Don't even get, like, if your person ends up being like whatever, you can just totally draw a dot somewhere on the body.
Yeah.
Caught up in perfection. It's just really like a practice for us to kind of like familiarize ourselves with really.
Bladder.
It looks like it's easiest to start like at the central, like the urinary bladder meridian or whatever. So the ones that are like nice and through the central body and then like adding. So it's so confusing. It's like a little highway. It also though is really cool because we can see like that they start or at least end, it appears like in the hands, feet, and head.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even thinking about if we treat the feet, if we treat the hands, if we treat the head, then we can start to affect all these different meridians, like through a scalp massage, through a foot massage, through a hand massage, we can start to access all of these different meridians. So even if we don't have a whole lot of time to go get a long 60 to 90-minute massage, we can take small periods throughout our day and just give ourselves a little self-love. The other thing though that I like is like you can see the different elements. And so for Qigong, when we're moving in these elements and we're inhaling, hands come up, you can like tell we're moving in through the earth, the fire, the wood elements, and then we're bringing it into the body. So when we're having these movements, then this is how we access these different elements outside of ourselves. And then we bring the energy into the body and we start to balance out those different energies through that practice that way as well. Yin also, as we know, really gets deep into these meridians. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about yin. So I wanted to preface that with these 12 meridians so we can have a little bit bigger understanding of what's going on in the body when we practice yin also, since it does govern these different meridians.
And I don't see the colon meridian on the handout, but it's on the picture.
It's like the fourth one down on the picture of the guy, and it looks like it starts some kind of around like the upper lip, like or below the.
Yeah, I see that, but I don't see it on these.
I see what you're saying.
It's not listed in the 12 either. Interesting.
Yes, I think this one, it's interesting to see the difference, how they 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 differentiated the meridians on both of the different diagrams. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So they broke it down into 14 on the body meridians with the woman. And that's probably one because they broke up the intestines and then they probably added ones that the first diagram didn't have. So we're going to
Yeah, exactly.
both the diagrams, unfortunately.
No, I think on this diagram, the first one, they're breaking it, like you said, colon and stomach, I guess, and instead of like a large or small intestine.
Right.
So just
Exactly. I got to find a better picture that encompasses all of them.
meridial intestine and the colon meridian. So I guess the one that's intestine would be the small intestine, the colon would be the bigger intestine.
Yeah,
The
what's the
large
large? The large intestine is pretty much like, what is that?
As far as its function or
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
yeah, the function I see it's the water extracts water and waste material.
Mhm.
So
And also absorption, like the large intestine is really like about absorption too. And so thinking about it in that absorbing water, absorbing nutrients,
which makes sense of why it's difficult of letting go or holding
Mhm.
on. So it's kind
Exactly.
of like if you have a hard time letting go of things,
exactly.
that's maybe an imbalance with the like water intake.
Totally. And like absorption disorders, like, people who like when they eat their food, their body's not absorbing all the nutrients from it and such, then probably that would be a good indication that the large intestine is having an imbalance too, if we're having absorption problems.
Mm-hmm.
All about absorption and elimination. So I think the
Yes.
large intestine would be where the colon obviously then resides, right? Because we're
Yeah.
dealing with the elimination and the rectum. And so thinking about it, tying into that one for sure.
Which would be which chakra, which would be
Roots.
the root. Okay. That makes total sense.
Yeah, that helps me too, to kind of understand what they were doing.
I don't know why I have a hard time like comprehending the metal element. Would I in my head think of that as space or ether?
That's usually how I do Qigong, and Chinese medicine offer different kind of elements. So that's where they start to differ a little bit between the different systems or lineages rather for the meridians. So I think it just, whichever you resonate with more, you can apply to.
Okay.
Well, urinary would be root, right? Or would
Yeah.
that be- Yeah.
Yeah, I would put it there because we're talking about elimination. So, or even sacral, either of those.
I was thinking sacral or multiple.
Yeah. I have this really neat rainbow chakra diagram here. I got from my 200 and it just like
Oh.
is really detailed.
Oh my gosh, that is
I wanna
so
click on you.
cool.
I can take a photo and then send
Oh
it to
my
you.
gosh, will you? I want one of those.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really detailed. I honestly got it off Amazon a long time ago, but
Wait.
don't do that.
Yeah, take a picture if you don't mind.
But I'll take a picture and send it to you guys.
That's so awesome. I love that. So lung meridian is heart. The pericardium. Cardium, that would be heart chakra too, right?
Yes.
And then the heart is heart. Colon is root. Purple warmer, that would be heart.
Mhm. And then it governs like the body from there.
Intestine. Intestine, that would be
I
heart,
I would say that would be solar.
solar plexus.
I'm just continuing to link some stuff in the chat for you guys too. So you see me on my phone,
Stomach?
I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to send stuff.
Would stomach be solar plexus?
Yeah.
Liver? I'm gonna have to redo this because I'm like,
Perfection.
yeah. It just has to be.
Release the perfection.
Yeah, no, not.
Nope,
Not at this moment.
no, not. Thanks, no.
Tomorrow.
So the other thing that I'm gonna do when we're done doing this practice is I'm gonna link in a Qigong practice that honors all of the elements. We're gonna practice this. It's not a very long
So-
practice. It's, I think, like maybe 12 minutes. So as soon as we're done.
So liver would be solar plexus too?
Mhm.
Spleen would be
Same.
solar. Kidneys is sacral. Okay. And gallbladder would be root. Or would that be sacral?
That would be solar plexus.
Oh, solar plexus.
Mhm.
Plexus does a lot of the internal organs just because there are a lot of like the belly organs. have to go in there. Mhm.
That makes sense. I'm gonna protect my mind.
I get that way too. I'm like, I want all the nice
like-
pens and markers and I want to do
Yeah,
it right,
I'm
make
like,
it look
oh my God,
perfect,
this
but
is like so ugly.
alas.
Deborah, what were you saying about the small intestine? Where it was located?
The meridian or the organ?
The actual organ or the
It
different,
should
yeah.
be in the solar plexus.
Okay. Cause I'm looking at that diagram and it's only showing like the large. Let me see if I can find, is there, oh, I see it now. Never mind.
You don't need to be weapons.
There's a little sharpener.
Oh, nice. Definitely.
You get jungle-fied.
Yeah, they need a little bit of TL.
So it's like the large intestine is kind of like the outer stomach too. It's kind of like what goes around it. And then the small intestine is kind of like inside that. If you think about it, just as far as the physical location, but both of them are located obviously in the belly and the solar plexus.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Link that she got.
Did that link work from YouTube?
Hmm.
Did my video? link
No,
work from
I was
YouTube?
unable to click it. Were you guys able to click on Deborah's link at all?
I'm doing it now.
Yeah,
Let
try
me see.
if it might just like, I'm like, is it just me? Not the biggest nerve one, but her real YouTube, like for her.
Oh.
It's got like a red arrow to start
Yeah.
it. This is what it keeps doing for me. Like, see how it's just circling?
Oh, wow. Everybody else too?
Yeah, it's doing the same thing to me.
Hmm. What if you hit the arrow? Nothing?
It's like thinking.
Mine says this video is private.
Ah, that might
But
be.
how do you send the link for your morning classes? You do it, you list it as private, right? And then it
That's
tells
totally
you,
what it is.
Oh, yeah.
and then it says,
When
here's
I
the
clicked
link.
on the link, then it said that.
Yeah.
So how do you share your private morning videos from YouTube? Does it
I think
say?
what I did was I like when I would go into my, then I would tap, there's like the three dots on the right. Let me see. When you're uploading. And then I click those three dots and then it says edit or advanced settings, either of those. And then when I hit that, it says visibility, either unlisted, private, or listed. If you just want only us to see it, you'll put unlisted. And then if you send us the link, then we'll be able to access it, and only people with the link will be able to access it. But if you want it public, then you can hit it public and then anybody can see it. And then if you got it private, then nobody can see it. So just,
Like that first, like the first video I sent you of me wearing a goofy suit, the bodysuit thing. That's a private video on YouTube, and it said to share a copy of this link, and you got it, right? So I thought it was the
no,
same,
I
but-
haven't been able to see any of the videos from YouTube for you. So
Okay.
I've been super bummed. So I think if you just hit it, I don't know if you hit it to unlisted or if that,
I thought
You have
just
your own
you just
channel?
make it private.
Do you have
Yeah.
your own channel on? Yeah, so I think when you go to the videos, you go to the right side and you click share. Do you have that?
Yeah, and then it said copy this link.
Copy
right?
link, yeah. But I think on your settings, there must be something where it's showing as private in your settings.
I think too, like,
Yeah, it is.
it just needs to go to either public or unlisted. That's what Court did. Because remember, I was sending you guys, I was trying to send you guys the video for the YouTube and it wasn't coming up for a little while.
Yeah.
What I had to do was like, then I went into this library where like I have all my videos at.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Top upper corner of my video, there's like 3 dots. Gosh, this video, okay, good. See how you can see the 3 dots like right there?
Yeah.
So then I click that. And after I click that, then this little white box comes up with these.
Right.
And then for me, I
Share the video.
and then from the edit, then I get like this little thing and it says visibility. And if you click it, it's got public, private, unlisted. And then the unlisted says anyone with the link can view it. But the private says only people who you can choose can view it. So I think in that sense, we would have to like be accepted as your friends maybe or something on YouTube in order to see it. But if you just want us to access it from the link, then you can hit the unlisted option like I have on mine. And then
Okay.
once I
Yeah,
send you the
that's
link, then you guys are able to see it.
Let me change it. Sorry to interrupt your class with that.
Today's practice is a yoga nidra practice that we did too. So it's a shorter practice. It's like about an hour today. So just so
Okay, that's good to know. Are you sending that? Did it already upload?
it did already upload. How, I don't know, but I'm gonna put it. I'm like, it's every day is a crapshoot with it. It's like, sure.
Yep.
Did that help or did it work? For the,
Okay, I just clicked on the video. Let's see. And
Oh, yeah.
no, it's not.
Yep. It worked.
learning how to do this technology stuff.
Yeah. It's a village.
Visibility private. I'm gonna change that to unlisted.
This is such a cool diagram. I really
The vagus nerve on that video.
no this.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
dude, I love this.
I wonder if you sent us, if we could look you up on YouTube and just become your friend and then whatever, or subscribe to your channel or something, and then we'd be able
Ooh,
to see.
you know, let me let's see. That's right there.
Also, Jen, before I forget, do you mind sending that book that we talked about with the
Oh,
Tao?
yeah.
Thank you. Dao De Ching.
All these phrases I
change
just
it to
can't keep track
unlisted.
of
I know.
that are like Asian or Chinese or it's just-
Uh-huh. Some are like Japanese, some are Chinese. It's like
Mhm.
keeping up with
Or
all of
Indian.
them. It's like, oh my
It
God.
still says this video is private.
There's lots of translations of the Tao Te Ching, but there's one that I have that I really like. I want to see if I can find it. Have you guys heard of Lao Tzu?
Yes, I feel like I have.
So he's like the
I've heard of
person
him.
who wrote the Tao Te Ching. So a lot of the times you'll see Lao Tzu quotes and it's
Yes. Okay.
here it is. This is my favorite one.
Also with the sleeping, I found that since I'm not doing so much cardio, my body's not tired. So like I'm in my head a lot more. But doing somatic work is helpful, but I think I need to do like at least 30 minutes of cardio or something to get my
Out of the
physical
body.
body tired because I'm just so like worked up in general that I find myself at night just so in my head still.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even like shaking it
I
out.
was just gonna say, you know what you could do? Lay on your back and just shake out your hands and your legs, like just throw a tantrum, you know?
We just
Yeah,
did
get tired.
It's like, it's so good.
that Qigong one too, that we did the horseman, I think, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot
that
to
one, I
teach you
love that
guys
one
this one
too.
yesterday, but where we kind of have like the loose legs and then we just shake.
Yeah, that was this morning. I did
Yeah.
that in the,
Yeah.
yeah, I like
That's
that.
like another good one I like to do like before too for bed if you're like feeling like here. I'm
Okay.
here. This is like I'm constantly having to do things to bring me out of my head because I just like
Yep.
live up here to dissect everything.
Oh,
Full Aquarius way I love to be there.
Yeah, that's my mom.
It's crazy.
My mom's an Aquarius.
We live in our head. We're like, tell me more about it in an ethereal way. Let's dissect it. Okay, there's the Tao Te Ching. That's my favorite one.
thank you.
There's lots of translations.
Thanks. And then what's Deborah's?
Is Deb talking? Did I miss something?
What's Deborah's thing on YouTube? I wanted to try and find her that way. And then see if I can. What's your thing on YouTube, Deborah? To look you
You're
up.
muted. Sorry, love. You're muted right now. Like you can, if you just unmute yourself. I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so on YouTube, I guess my handle, whatever, starts with an at. So it's at Deborah Wilson 9463 DEBRA.
9463.
9463.
Has a picture of a pink lotus.
Okay, that did not
I come up with like an inspirational speaker,
Same.
black, fast comedian,
I-
badass, chica.
Yeah, That's so weird.
It's so weird.
Oh my god.
That just shows how it totally picks like
whatever it
whatever
wants.
the person's like.
Yeah. Because here it says share. I click on share. It says, okay, share to WhatsApp. Let me try that instead of just copying the link.
I think it's still private.
No, I changed it.
Yeah, now I got all these. Now I got what you got. That's
God.
so weird.
Still telling me it's private.
Yeah.
Even the last one I just sent. Yeah. Let's do the same thing again. That one said share to you. Okay.
says private. Alrighty,
I know. Well,
I'm good.
alas,
That's okay.
I know.
There's support. And there's she's one. Oh, look at her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, I think you might, if you I think this is, Courtney had to have me change my videos to like unlisted. I don't know if that would make it.
Yeah, I did do that, but now it's not, it's still showing.
That's so,
um,
YouTube.
Where do you get those three little dots for the changing from private?
Would you say, I'm sorry?
I'm trying to figure out where I changed it from private again.
For me, if I go, like I'm doing it all from my phone, so that might be different too. But when I go to library on the bottom right, and then I go to my videos,
Mhm.
and I click the three dots on the video, and then I go to edit. And then it lets me change the visibility. Uh-huh.
Yeah, on my laptop, it's those three dots say add to queue, save the watch later, save the playlist. And I did find it earlier, I just, where I found it to change it to my list.
Or even if your channel is public. Okay, so what we are going to do next, now that we've talked meridians and we've talked about how they tie into different elements, we're gonna do this little short Qigong practice because the practice is getting us to balance out all of the meridians or all of the elements, excuse me. So we're gonna practice this. I could also maybe put it on the screen here and share screen if you guys want to just do it all together on here. That'd be easier. Or would you rather practice alone and then get back on together? You guys have a preference?
No, I don't. Ever since I said I love mosquitoes, I feel like they haven't been bothering.
All right. Keep that mantra.
Mosquitoes. I love them so much. And the ants. Oh my gosh. When I was like 3 years old, I got eaten up by ants. And so like honestly, out of all the bugs, like I've always hated ants the most.
They were driving me crazy before I told you about like
Yeah.
the ceremony I did where I woke up with them fighting
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, like now I'm okay with them, but I still am like, oh my God, they're ants. Because I was so traumatized when I was little. I guess I was like standing on an anthill and I didn't know it, and I got like eaten up so bad by ants.
You
And it's
tested
so
me.
weird because like I didn't know that, and I've always had like this phobia of ants, and I never understood why. And then my mom told me when I was like really little, like before we got taken away, that I got eaten up by ants. And I was like, oh shit, that makes so much sense. I was like, no wonder I have a phobia. He like traumatized me as a very little girl, you know. My root chakra is so hot. Like I feel like I'm sweating.
Are you?
Yeah, like right here.
I think you're going through a little purge. Sorry guys, I'm trying to pull up the Qigong and then I'm gonna put it on the screen and we're all gonna do it together.
Psychic lady that I told me that I was going through my spiritual awakening.
I believe that.
And that I'll be doing a lot of that here. I just thought this was one of the nice and that.
This is totally what this was. Okay, I'm gonna minimize this. I'm going to share my screen.
I need to buy a computer next. I really do.
Normally, I can just hit share thing. Show all. Can you guys see the Qigong video?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna start it over and then I want you guys to get comfy, standing somewhere so we can practice. Okay. You guys ready? We might have to move close, it's hard to hear. Can't hear it. Yeah. Can you guys hear it? Give me a thumbs up if yes or thumbs. Okay. I think we might have to do it then separately, then come back into the Zoom, unfortunately. Because I can't hear it very well either. So if you guys want, we'll just pause our Zoom call. We'll do this and we'll get back on in 12.26 minutes when we're done with it. My apologies.
Did you send the link in the chat? Sorry.
It is. It's there, but it's like this tiny little one. I'm gonna hit a like so that you guys know which one it is.
I found it.
The day that I didn't bring my speaker. Okay. We'll meet you guys back here in just a few then. You both have the link though, yeah, Deborah?
I do not. I'm looking, scrolling
Okay.
through and
I just liked it. I don't know if
where
that
it was.
brought it up, but let me I'll just copy and then I'm gonna paste it again so it's at the bottom. So there it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We will see you shortly.